Hey, this is John from Iverson Automotive, and in this video, what I'm going to be doing is kind of talking over and kind of narrating a cool project that we just finished up. So this was some rear quarter panels on a 1954 Cadillac Eldorado. So these panels consisted of four different aluminum moldings. So there was kind of a smaller one that you can see right above the wheel, and then there was kind of a larger piece that wrapped around to the front and back of the fenders, and there was a left and right. So we had four panels like this, and we all had to kind of restore them pretty much the same way. They had a kind of a low dipped groove in there, and then a high part that was polished, and then the low groove was actually satin finished, which we ended up doing with kind of sandpaper and a 3M pad, and then having to tape all of the polished parts over, and then satin finishing them on a separate part. So it was quite the project. And as you can see on one of the panels, one of the large panels on kind of the back, the rear quarter, had a very, very large dent. And then it also had some very deep gouges taken out of it by, I don't know, whatever happened to it, but it had some serious damage. And I was actually kind of worried about getting this dent and these scratches out, because they were pretty deep, but lucky enough there was enough material in these panels to kind of work with them. So as you can see, this panel turned out really well, and we were able to kind of get behind there with pretty much just hammer, chisel, dollies, and then we're able to kind of kind of get somewhat a uniform sanding on these two. They look pretty good. We couldn't add any material to this. You probably could do that, but kind of get them in that square configuration like they are supposed to be would be very hard. So we pretty much just had to sand them, but we did get a nice, even, consistent look. So, and how we restored these was really not any different than any other aluminum panel or aluminum piece that we restore on a regular basis. Pretty much, these were anodized. We did have to dip them in diluted caustic soda and water that we have at the shop, a tank that we have at the shop, and that pretty much stripped off any of the anodizing, and then we were able to kind of restore and polish, sand, just like we do any other piece. So we started off with dipping the piece, doing all the dent work on it, and then we pretty much had to polish pretty much everything you see, all the high grooves and low grooves, and getting any pits and deep scratches out. We did with the sanding process that we do on any other piece. Pretty much sand it down to about 800 to 1,000 grit, and then we pretty much polished it using different rouges, different pads, until we had a nice, consistent, shiny piece. So nothing different than any other aluminum piece that we do. So the only thing we had to do afterwards was pretty much like you see in some of these pictures, is we had to tape off all these high spots, because we had to go back and do a satin finish on these little low spots, and that's how the piece was originally done. So that's what we had to do. So pretty much taking a tape that fit over these grooves, lay it down on all these grooves, and then we used pretty much like a little die piece that we had made, and then I put just like a 220 or a 120 sandpaper on it, and just ran it, and that gave it a nice, consistent, smooth, straight, kind of deep lines in it, and then I just went over it with a 3M pad. So it was quite the project, but it turned out really, really well. And then here, just let this roll, some video of me taking off this tape. So after getting all the satin finish on there, after getting everything polished, and then I had to remove all this tape, and they were pretty much done. So I'll just let these videos kind of roll, kind of a side-to-side comparison of before and after. But the 1954 Cadillac Eldorado is a very unique, very rare car, and these panels are kind of a very unique accessory on them. So, in kind of doing some research on this car when we were restoring these, this is the typical picture I would get. I'd try to find some if they were ever, these panels were ever restored on one of these cars, but it's kind of, this is the typical picture of them, kind of just kind of satin satin dull finish. So I'm really interested to see the panels put on the car. Eventually be put on the car. Well, we did these panels for a shop, but I'm not sure if the car's done at this point. But very interested to see what these turn out, because I think it really adds a lot to the car and kind of a different, unique look to it. So if you have any questions, put them down in the comments. If you have any experience with these panels or with this car, definitely let us know. Hit us up in the comments section. Be interested to hear your experiences with them. And obviously, if you have this car and you would like your panels to look like the ones we did in this video, give us, definitely contact us. You can find us online at iversonautomotive.com, otherwise on Instagram under Iverson Automotive. So yeah, definitely leave us some comments or questions down below, and love to hear your experience with these panels. But that's all I got. So have a good day, and I'll see you later. And thanks for watching.